Right, this is the Consultation Part 2, Firearms. This is my problem to start with, but we're going to go on to all the other problems that are happening in Firearms in this same series. So we've got, don't know whether you can see that, Consultation Firearms Part 2. Now I've put here, for this one, DPP problem at project-x.org.uk. So DPP, Dyfed Parish Police problem, project-x.org.uk. Now we talked about the fact that they've had the guns now for 2 years with no charges, no arrest, not even a prison sentence, haven't been charged for murder. They've just literally took them because we had a raid by the MOD police who left with nothing and said, sorry, we can see you're a collector, you're a historian, everything's in little plastic bags, we're very sorry, we're going. And as I said in the last video, it looks as if they were here for a holiday. I say here, but I mean my house in Wales, because it was in Wales and all the office staff were there, saying that basically they didn't have any staff, so they brought all the office staff with them to do the search, because the search was supposed to take 3 days and they were gone by 11 o'clock on the first day. But Dyfed Parish Police took the guns anyway, even though they're only supposed to make them safe. So that's basically part 1. This is part 2. Now I'm just going to go, I think when they realised they'd taken the guns without any reason, and they didn't leave me any paperwork either. They're supposed to fill in the white and blue form, we're both supposed to sign it, however many guns you can get on that sheet, which isn't many. So we'd have had to do quite a few sheets for 40 guns, and basically I didn't get any of that at all. They just literally took them and drove off. In fact, he was gone. But he did appear a few days. Now I think what's happened is, when they realised that hadn't been charged with anything, they thought, we better get him for something. Okay? Now imagine, we've just had our house ransacked. To this day, 2 years later, my wife won't clean anything. She says, no point, it's like we've been robbed. There's some places I won't go in my shed that I think, what am I going to find? You know, because everything in that shed was full. It's 15 metres by 7 on 2 floors, with everything balanced finely. You know, I don't even know how he got the guns out of the cabinet, because you have to shut one door, shut another, and then open the cabinet, take the gun out, hold it while you shut one door, then you can get past. You know, I don't know how they did it without... I won't even look for damage. But that's 2 years ago, so we've all gone downhill pretty much. The wife certainly won't. She just sits in front of the TV now, sort of cowering, you know. And when a police car goes past, the kids jump and she jumps, and everyone's heart races. Or an ambulance, anything with a siren goes past. We're on an A road, so we get them a lot. So that's how it, you know, I still a member at the range. I'm still paying for the membership, but haven't gone up there. They don't know much about it because of the fact that we won a court case against the head of Firearms, or I didn't. Nothing to do with me, I'm just a member. Somebody else won a court case, and we got a feeling this is to do with that. Now, when he realised they hadn't charged me with anything, so basically they had the guns illegally, and they didn't do any paperwork either, so it's definitely illegal. They tried to get me for other things. So let's look at what they did. First of all, they sent one of the liaison officers back. Didn't send the old fella back, who's my friend. They sent a different one, and he sat at my computer trying to rib me, trying to get me to react. You know, trying to sort of catch me out on things. You know, and so basically he did 2 statements, and there was nothing on there worth talking about. So the next thing they did, my daughter, one day when we took her telephone, she wrote a letter saying she was going to kill herself and all this, and my wife found it, And he said, oh, that's part of her history, we'll put that, this is years before, we'll put that in her in a little case in her room for her to remember. So put that in the case in her room. The MOD police found that and gave it to, I think we're not sure what happened. Certainly no property sheets for it. Where they are, well, I never signed anything, and neither did my wife or anybody. So they've stolen stuff from our property, basically. Then they reacted. The worst thing is they've reacted to it. They've sent social services into the school to find out, and they put the kids into separate rooms to interrogate them separately, and have tried to get some sort of confession out of them that I'm a madman. Now, that is unbelievable. In social services, when I told them what happened, they said, oh, it's one of those cases. We've got some nut job in the police who thinks he can do what he likes. We get a lot of that. They waste a lot of our time, basically. So that was what happened, and they said, ever so sorry, you know, but that doesn't make any difference. The kids were then terrified, wondering what was going to happen next. So the next thing, they come to my work. I was a postman at the time. They say to my boss, where is Mr. Peterson? He said, oh, he's out on duty. He said, right, don't tell him we've been here. We're going to his house to talk to his wife. So they left, came to my house, got my wife into the police car, and basically asked her if she was being abused or if I was a madman. Now, I've asked Dyfed Parish Police about a year ago who these police people were, because we got to issue a summons, basically, and they're saying, oh, we don't know. In fact, they don't know anything. You know, like you heard just then, people in the Firearms office don't know whether you're supposed to fill a form in when they take property from your house. How stupid is that? And every time I ring, you heard, they ask for my name and my date of birth. So they go on the computer, and I bet that written on that screen is, don't give this man the time of day. Although I'm, as you heard, I'm very pleasant. I've always been pleasant, because one of the things that they hold against you is if you get angry, they say, oh, he gets angry easily, we'll have to take his firearms. And they've just done this recent thing where you have to get a letter from your doctor, which the doctors are putting the price up like mad on these letters. Some of them won't do it because it's firearms. To make sure you're not bad, you know, you haven't gone mad or you're not on medication. Now, what that's done is stopped people going to the doctor and saying, oh, I've got a mental problem, because they know their guns will be taken. So they don't go. They just go mental, which is even worse than being able to, you know, I don't know, it really, I expect if you're a gun person, you'll be getting angry about now. So yeah, so they did a lot of things. Then a year went by with nothing, and when I rang on, I think probably the first anniversary, I've got all the dates of all the first phone calls. Basically, they said, oh, we keep asking the MOD police for things, and we never get any answer. So we're just waiting for, and this went on for about 2 or 3 phone calls. I think once a week I rang. A lot of people would have rung before that, but I really thought there was still case, and there was still court cases going on, which incidentally were all thrown out. You know, they were getting people for small things they were finding that were irrelevant to the case. You know, one chap, just a few little things, and they destroyed his business. And then they wouldn't pay his. He applied for that thing where you get free court time, and they wouldn't pay for that. So now he owes 200,000. You know, the whole thing is really out of order. I don't know whether it's in the name of terrorism or what, but they've certainly not got the terrorists, and they've certainly not got the criminals. They're going for because licence holders, easy target. You know, easy target. Oh, I'm sitting in this office doing nothing. Wait a minute, let's make up something so we can go out and rob people of stuff. Like the Mars. Everyone knows, you know, Mars is a lever action rifle. Great for disabled people. And a lot of people bought these. I bought one so I could teach disabled people up the... Because you don't have to cock it. You know, a disabled person can't get that, especially with a straight pull, where sometimes the case is stuck. You have to jam the case out and pull it. Case ejects. You load the next one in manually, then you can shoot again. And these are allowed because you can't go into a shopping centre and do multiple shootings, you see. That's the idea behind it. So, anyway, Mars action, you know, you pull the trigger, it cocks the gun. Let the trigger go, pull it again, bang. And then you pull the trigger again, cocks the gun. So every 2 pulls of the trigger. Now, that takes time, but they're saying it's too short. You could easily shoot a lot of people with that before anyone got to you. Bolt action, same thing, bang. Some people at our range were faster firing with a bolt action rifle than they were firing with my Mars. Now you watch, somebody from the Home Office will pick up on this and they'll say, oh, wait a minute, let's ban all, but that's a good excuse, let's ban all bolt action rifles. Then you'll see a problem, I'll tell you. Especially with our historic wartime stuff, which are all bolt action. You know, these people, graduates sitting behind desks, still wet behind the ears, you know, have to find things to do in order to appease their boss. Their boss is pushing them like mad. So, oh, let's think up something against... We can't touch the criminals, can't touch the terrorists, let's do something on the licence holders again. Oh, that'll get me something to do. You know, so this is what we're up against. And now we've got this anti-gun nut job in Dyfed Parish Police. You know, he's completely thrown the whole credibility of the firearms unit out the window. Everyone is... And I'll tell you what, they think, we could reduce guns by making it really difficult for people and really... But no. We had, when I joined my range, we had 28 people. We've now got nearly 100. There's many more people joining the sport now because basically it's good fun. And the comradeship and the swapping of gear and the swapping of different firearms and having a go with a different, you know, the whole thing is like a big gentleman's club basically, but without the money. So yeah, so there's that, and some people some people who retire here, it's their only hobby. Like mine, all my hobbies are now destroyed because of Dyfed Parish Police Firearms Unit. So that's another lot of compensation there. There's a lot. When you think about all the compensation, they've got the guns, so all the gear and all the uniforms and everything, and all the stuff I bought to sell for those guns, like magazines for the VZ58 and all that, all compensation. That's all claimable. Even if they, you know, even if they charge me with murder tomorrow, there's still 2 years worth of non-activity to be charged for. So that's a lot of money. Then there's my kids, because I wasn't charged with anything by the MOD police. They had no right to actually get my kids into separate rooms and my wife into a police car. They had no right. You have to be charged with something. According to the Home Office, you have to be charged with something. That's one phone call I should have recorded, because that was pretty amazing. To try and get through to the Home Office now, you need a name of a person. You know, that you know, because I used to ring them on a regular basis. When we were at Bletchley Park, we used to have to ring them on firearms subject. You could get straight through. You know, on something as important as a firearms, where you can go to prison for 13 years, maximum, you should be there should be somebody on the end of the phone immediately to put you right, or for you to get information from. Not now. You need somebody's name before they'll put you through. And how do, if you're a first time person, how do you get that name? So what I did is I left a message on their system and they rang me back. But that was about something completely different. But one thing I did get from them was that, that you know, there should have been some sort of charge, or not even a caution. It has to be a charge or an arrest before they can take the guns with for no reason. The reason being the charge or the arrest. At the moment, there's no reason. Now, I didn't get a letter. I've got no letters from them whatsoever in 2 years to say, oh, sorry about this, sorry about the delay, nothing like that. Nothing to say what I've actually done. You know, there's literally nothing. And okay, they say they're busy, but they're making themselves busy with these trivial cases. You know, there's quite a few people. There's one person who was moving house, so he said, could I leave my guns at Cardigan Police Station? Went down there, dropped the guns off, moved, went back to get them. And they said, oh no, you've got to apply for your licence again. We thought you'd given up. It's all beads up the nose. You know, there's graduates sitting behind desks thinking all these things up. Let's get at the gun owners. Now, here's the sinister bit. Obviously, I can't tell you what we do with the government and everything, but there was a time when we liaised with a person who was in on some of the meetings at the Home Office, and he was telling us worrying strings of sentences, strings of words that were along the lines of, ideally the public shouldn't have guns at all. We've taxed the public into the ground. This is in general, not the exact sentences, because otherwise the minutes will show who said it, and I can't do that because they might be helping us. So yeah, basically along the lines of, the government have taxed us into the ground, there's nothing else to tax, so there's going to be more riots, so they do not want it escalating into people coming out with guns. So that's number one. They only want the police and the army to have guns. So the idea was to reduce, by 2025, reduce all the firearms in the system down to 50%, and by 2050 down to 0. Now this was talk in meetings, not changed into law suddenly or whatever. But there's a lot of things that have gone, that have been passed underground that we've only found out by the back door, which should be published, or letters sent to all of us, like for instance the registering of deactivated firearms. Every time the police come in contact with a deactivated firearm, they've got to register it on a deactivated firearm register. I don't know, it's so vague that I don't even still know whether that's true or not. You know, but these are the things that something that gives such a high prison sentence, why are they making it so vague? Is it because they want to get anybody involved with guns into prisons? I think it must be. So unless somebody says any different. Now, I've left comments open. There's, for this particular problem, not necessarily firearms, you can put anything here. So if you put firearms at projectx.org.uk, that's a general firearms message. So yeah, we want any lawyers out there. I was going to say, I've been in touch with people who'll talk to you in Basque, but haven't actually done the lawyer thing yet, because somebody says that they're so eager to teach these people a lesson, especially Dyfed Parish Police and this new chap, which is not new now, he's about 2 or 3 years old there. Basically they want to get him, so they'll be pushing me for a case. Now I'm quite happy for them to go and inspect the guns, pick out the ones that aren't any good anymore, and give me back the rest and return me to some sort of normality. But even if they do that, I can still go for this compensation, that 917,000. I can still go for that. It's worked out to on the exact 2-year date of the firearms being taken away. It's £917,280 at 11 o'clock on said day. Is that, yeah, as I say, they were all gone by 11 on the first day of a 3-day raid. So how long we got? I could carry on talking about this for hours. Yeah, in my gun inventory, they're saying, oh, you've got too many guns. But 10 of them are Brococks that are air pistols and air guns. Very, very rare. One of them's a number 4 Brocock. Enfield number 4 made into a Brocock. Because it's a Brocock and not classed as an air rifle, air cartridge, pump up cartridge system, they've gone on the firearms license. Now, you know, that was again graduates sitting behind desks thinking, I think one person somewhere made a cartridge system which took a 2.2 bullet, which is a firearm bullet, and on a firearms license, and somehow modified the gun to make a dent rather than release a valve like in the air. So I don't know how they did that. They would have had to, again, they would have had to have a big lot of machinery, very, very accurate machinery, which your average person doesn't have. And because, you know, this person obviously had machinery and did this and managed to fire one. So that's why they did that with the Brococks, and they jumped on it. Like they did with the Michael Ryan thing. One person goes mad with one gun, and then they jump on all the firearms and ban them. Dunblane. One man goes into a... Now, they say that this was to do with the paedophile ring, Scottish aristocracy. Nothing to do with him going mad and going into a school and start shooting. Nothing to do with that. And then it was a police problem, because the police knew he was unstable, and because various judges and that in the paedophile ring basically rang the police and said, no, it's okay, give him a licence. You know, so that was a police problem, not a mad person problem. And even in the Michael Ryan case, okay, he was living at home with his mum on his own, and was known by his colleagues to be a slight problem. So, you know, but anyway, the Home Office jumps on these. Excuse to ban all the pistols. Excuse to ban all automatic weapons, which we all know are great fun. You know, people go abroad now, go to Czechoslovakia to shoot, you know, you can go to Russia, shoot AK-47s. Some places have got masses of guns. You go to America, Knob Creek, shoot whatever you like. You know, they're all allowed to do that, but we're suppressed idiots. You know, and everything they throw at us, we take, oh yes, okay, no problem. It's unbelievable, it really is. That goes through all things in life. Bedroom tax, whatever is that? I've heard about it, and I know people have had to leave their ancestral homes because of it. What time we got? 23. So yeah, the Brocock thing. So I've got 10 of those 40 guns are Brococks. So I've still got 30 guns to account for, which I can do easily. 5 of those can go. So we're now talking about 25 guns. Or 26, let's say. 2 of them are flare pistols, which are safety. 24 guns. 3 reenactment rifles. Yeah, you know, I could go through them, and some of them have got 3 different uses. You know, because save buying 3 guns, I bought 1 for the 3 uses. So, anyway, they're saying to me that this chap who came here had to write a report of some sort, and he's put on the report, he's got too many guns, he should reduce his guns. Which, you know, to a certain extent, I agree. That's if I'm going to give up anything, but I'm not. You know, this has spurred me on. I'm not giving up. That's for sure. So, yeah. So basically, he said, you know, but Malcolm came and said, doesn't matter how many guns you've got, as long as you've got the space for them in cabinets. We're only worried about security. You can only fire 1 gun at once. Security. That's all we're interested in. Chris comes, this other chap, who's retired now, funnily enough, but according to the Home Office, any problems he's still liable, basically. So he's put in his report, got too many guns. And yet, it was them who said, you know, when you apply for a new rifle, you say, right, I want another 7.62 rifle, put it on a form, send it in, they send back the new licence, and you can go and purchase that rifle. Now, every time somebody said, try this thing up the range, try this discipline, I applied for a rifle for it, and they got it. Didn't say, no, you've got too many guns, or you're getting near your limit, you know, this looks too bad, or that sort of thing. None of that. Just straight licence back within a week, new gun on it, thank you very much. So they have said, I can have all the guns. They have said. Now they say, oh, you got too many guns. I mean, that, you know, I did mention that to, I can't remember who to, either the lawyer or the Basque fella, and they were absolutely livid. You know, that we really must get the person behind all this thinking. You know, they've got to be stepped upon. So that's what it's all about. Now, do I give up? Because after 2 years, another thing you can do, what time we got, 26, is refuse to take them back after 2 years, only on the basis of the fact that they won't be any good. They should. That's 24 cleanings that they've missed. 8 stock oilings that they've missed. What sort of conditions are they in? Have policemen been playing with them? Finger marks, rust. We don't know. Don't know what's happened. Have they disappeared? Are they in firearms officers' own private gun collections? We don't know. Illegal gun collections. No, they must all have them. Why be in firearms? You know, my cousin, many years ago in the 70s, basically moved from drug squad to firearms unit when the wall came down and there was stuff kept flying in across Europe, to get 2 Uzis. And he was a high up policeman, you know. So, but he never did. But basically, that's why he moved departments. You know, so I know it goes on, don't worry. We're only human, you know. Humans want what they haven't got. Simple as that. So this is part 2, and I might do a part 3. I've got to do some other YouTube videos for the other subjects. But basically, right, that's part 2 for the time being. You know, what do? I need lots of messages. 2 or 4, I mean, you know, if you say, oh, you got, you know, you shouldn't have that many guns, say it, please. Say it. Thanks a lot.